What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video, and thank you for joining me. Today we have Dan over and we are getting ready for Arizona Bike Week. We leave in 2 weeks. We work a week on, week off schedule, so we only have 1 week to get both bikes ready and a bunch of new parts on his and a couple of new parts on mine. So let's get into it. All right, so we've got Dan's bike on the lift right now. It's currently torn apart. What you got going down, Dan?
We're rebuilding the front suspension on here. We're putting Oleans on the front, Oleans on the back. Got the new Trask intake and Cruzy Originals floorboards.
And T-bars.
And T-bars.
So in addition to those parts, we have a few other things that we're gonna be doing. Dan, as a kind of about Christmas time present, or maybe it was my birthday, ended up ordering 2 of these custom shift linkages. I don't know if it's gonna be reversed for you guys, but Off-Wheat Garage. How freaking cool is that? Looks awesome. I can't wait to get it on the bike. That is from Boss Fab, so we're gonna be throwing that on. Really cool that we're gonna get to run that at Arizona Bike Week. Hopefully it'll help people recognize the bike. From there, we are gonna be throwing on a set of lighted switches on my bike. I've never liked that at night I can't see the switches. I have multiple vehicles and multiple bikes, and sometimes I tend to forget where some things are. I'm sorry. They have a lot of buttons nowadays, you know? So, having the lighted switches is gonna be something nice for me, where if I haven't ridden in a couple weeks and then I get on the bike, I just feel right at home and I can see everything. And I think it also just looks a bit more premium. So we'll see how that looks on the bike. And we're both gonna end up doing oil changes, clutch adjustments, a few other things. Starting to think my wheels aren't going to show up in time for Arizona Bike Week. I talked to the company the other day. I'm starting to get impatient. We're almost 3 months overdue now. So it is what it is, I suppose. I also have a really cool part that is going to completely change the look of the bike that I have ordered. I don't know if it'll arrive in time for Arizona Bike Week, but if it does, you can best believe we'll get it on. So this video is going to kind of take place over the next few days. This is going to be our entire getting ready for Arizona Bike Week video in terms of prepping out the bikes. I will do a separate video, I think, on like packing and like kind of like the days just right before. So let's get into it. But I'm gonna use the ones that Olean sent me.
Inception.
Is this copyright? It's like Cars. Ka-chow! All right, so since Dan has the lift currently, we're gonna start with the controls, since that's a lot easier than trying to get down and low on the bike for the shift linkage. So super straightforward, T27, and I think it's a T15 for the back. Just gonna yank these controls apart, throw the new ones on, plug them in, and they should work. I hope they don't need to be programmed to the bike. Don't think they will be. All right, so here are the lighted switch covers. They come with everything, the housing, the plastic clips and stuff, the switch packs, everything that you need to just slap them on your bike and off you go. I'm actually really glad that it comes with these covers. The main reason that I decided to do this modification was I've scratched my covers up pretty bad. These stock Torx bolts that they use, if you slip sharp edged Torx bit right onto this paint, it's over. So it'll be nice to get a nice fresh set on here. Now that I'm not taking this stuff on and off anymore, I've kind of got my setup dialed. I won't need to mess with it, but we do have some 12-point ARP hardware that I ordered from Thrashin, and that is going to kind of spruce this area up, and it'll be a 12-point socket instead of a Torx bit going forward. So super straightforward. You know, that's why I'm not really getting too in depth with it here, but I did still want to share with you guys because I think this is a pretty valuable upgrade that a lot of people could actually benefit from. So by the end of the video, you'll know whether or not you think that it's worth it to you. Man's forgot that his motorcycle's on a motorcycle lift. And he can lift it. All right, lighted switches are done. You can see they look pretty much the same as before. Actually a little bit more vibrant, I would say, even when they're not lit up, because they are now a white backdrop, so that when the LED is lit, it really shines through. That 12-point ARP hardware really pops nicely here. See what they look like turned on. And let's check these switches out at night. Really well lit up. Very, very clean look. Definitely should have come like this from factory, but I am thankful that it's an available upgrade that's actually reasonably priced. It was about $450. I think that's completely worth it, especially if you're wanting to replace your scratched up switch housings anyways. All right, you guys, we're back here in the shop. Today is doing an oil change on all 3 holes. So we're just gonna change all the fluids out. I'm not gonna step by step it, I've already done a video on that, but bringing you guys along for all of this prep work. All right, so while we're in here, we're gonna go ahead and adjust our clutch adjustment as well. It feels perfectly fine where it's at, but I am going to set it a little bit closer to the grip in terms of the friction point. That way, as it wears over the next 3,000 miles of our trip, it will kind of work its way out versus, you know, starting further out and then maybe having to adjust it near the tail end of the trip, possibly depending on how hard we ride. So yeah, we're just gonna go ahead and set it and forget it. Okay, so next pre-trip item that we're gonna be checking is the belt deflection. I've actually not made any adjustments to the belt deflection since I purchased the bike. I am right at the edge of in spec, and realistically, if it was a shorter trip, I would leave it alone. I have my new wheels hopefully coming soon. That's a whole nother story. But since it's gonna be about a 3,000 mile trip, I do think it's a good idea to go ahead and adjust it. The spec is between 1/4 inch and 7/16 inch. Each one of these notches on this belt deflection window are a 1/16. So we want to be probably about 2 to 3 notches on here. I'm currently just past the 4th notch. We have a belt deflection tool here. You can get one of these on Amazon for like 10 bucks. All it does is display when you are at 10 pounds of pressure. All you have to do is press up on the belt here and apply 10 pounds of pressure. See how much the belt is deflecting. There's a cam system on this rear axle, which makes it super, super easy to do. All you have to do is get the bike off the ground, ideally, undo the nut on the other side, which is super easy for us because we have a shorter exhaust. And then we can just rotate this cam a little bit, which is gonna tighten up on the belt, retighten it, and that'll be that. So I'll take you guys through that since I've never shown that on the channel, but yeah, let's get into it. So here's our belt deflection window with the notches. Each notch is a 1/16 of an inch. As you can see, we're looking at a bit of play there, more than we want to see. So with our belt deflection tool here, we're just going to apply pressure until we hit that 10-pound mark and then stop, which is right there. So at that 10-pound pressure, we're just over 4 notches. I'd like to bring that down to probably 2 notches for the trip. So you can see we have a circlip here that we just pop off. Unfortunately, I don't have any shallow sockets that would fit that with the exhaust here, so I am going to be using a wrench. All right, so now that we have the nut loose, we can go ahead and rotate this cam. That is going to push the rear wheel back more, which will put more tension on the belt. All right, so we've got the belt tightened up here. We have the deflection at 10 pounds there at 3 ticks, which is well within spec. So that's where we're gonna have it set for the trip. All right, you guys, we're back in the garage. Just got home from a night shift and we showed up to more last minute parts to get the bike ready for the coming road trip. Currently we're rocking the Klockworks 10-inch Sport Flare. Here I have their 11-inch Sport Flare. This is their kind of newest offering in the Sport Flare lineup. And it's not too much taller, but it actually is taller than an inch. I know it says 10-inch and 11-inch, but it's actually vertically only, I believe, like a 7.25 or 7.5, and then this is going to take us up to a 9.25. So over an inch and a half in height gain here, and I think that's going to be just about right, since when I did go with my Saddleman seat, which raised the overall rider position up almost 2 inches, I did kind of lose all of the wind protection that this shield initially offered me. So I've got 6 windshields now. I'm going to have to be starting to look at getting rid of some, but let's get this out of the packaging and see how it looks on the bike. All right, so we went with dark smoke again, so it's going to look exactly the same as the current one. It is just a little bit taller on the side pieces here, as well as definitely in the top there. Has a little bit more flare to it, so that wind is really going to deflect up and over a lot harder than the angle of this one. Even though the vertical height isn't much more, the overall wind direction is going to be changed pretty dramatically, I think. So as you can see, it's not a drastic difference, but with the overall angle at the top here, it really is going to be a definite wind break there, as well as the higher side profile here. Overall, the whole thing is about an inch and a half taller than current. So this should be just about perfect. All right, you guys, we have the bike off the lift here so that we can take a good look from all angles. It's just a little bit tall in terms of like proportions for me to visually love it. From the front is really the only angle that kind of bothers me currently. But again, I think it's just because it's different. Again, it's not bad. This is a gorgeous motorcycle to begin with, but that's just my personal feelings currently. We'll see how they develop. And we're back for more. And you may notice I have already taken off the 11-inch windshield. I really tried to like it. You know, with it being almost an inch and a half taller, it would have added, you know, a good amount of wind protection, but I just could not get behind the way that it looked. It's just a little bit too extreme for me. The way that this kind of curves too far up, it was just, I just couldn't get behind it. So for $300, I decided to just bag it back up and send it back versus review it for you guys first. I'm sorry, but I have like 5 windshields. I really didn't want to own another one that I never use. So back on with the 10-inch. It just fits the lines of my bike perfectly, and that's what I like. So we're back with that. Moving on. The other day, I ended up cleaning and re-oiling my K&N air filter on my Screaming Eagle heavy breather intake, and unfortunately the power went out, so I didn't end up recording that. But it's very straightforward. I have a kit over here I'll show you. Picked it up at Goodwill for $5. All right, so as you guys can see here, K&N recharger kit. Part number is 99-5000. Goodwill, $5.99. Hell yeah. Red air filter oil and cleaner stuff. Now, I did 2 helpings of cleaner and of oil, and these are still like over half full. So I'm going to get multiple uses out of this, and it's definitely nice to have the filter all cleaned up for the trip. The front section here was actually really chocked full of stuff in all the low spots in the pleating there. So glad I got that cleaned up, and back to red looks good for a little bit until it dries out again. I'm gonna be showing you guys a much cleaner solution for mounting up these Öhlins HD779s, 044s, etc. The stock Öhlins reservoir mounts work fine. They're sturdy, they're fine, but I don't like that you can see all of this, especially now that I have different taillights that are recessed. This just now sticks out like a sore thumb versus when you had something else that kind of followed that line. So I've wanted to change this up for a few months now, and I ended up doing some research. I found that Kraus offers a modular solution where it's completely customizable, but they're really expensive. So as I continued my search, I ended up finding that Carbon Visionary, who I went through for all of my forged carbon bits, offers a really nice, clean, low profile mounting option for the reservoirs that still retains your factory docking hardware. I wasn't going to film it. I was just kind of going to bring you guys in and say, hey, this is what it looks like now. But I thought, hey, I've got one done from yesterday. Why don't I show you guys the before, the after, right next to each other, and then show you guys kind of the intricate details of how these ones mount on. I think they're kind of neat the way the mount is tapered and it kind of self-centers. Just a really nice design, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. Really big shout out to Carbon Visionary. I reached out to Max a couple of days ago and I said, hey, I know it's like a week till I leave for Arizona Bike Week, but is there any chance that we can get these out? And this is not the first time that he's done that. I shot him a text, and within a couple hours I had tracking info, and 2 days later it showed up. Priority USPS, can't beat it. He did the same thing with my forged carbon fender when I didn't even know him. So it's not like I'm just getting special preference here. I reached out on Instagram, said, hey, I've been waiting months on my other forged carbon option. Can you get me one sooner? He had me tracking info later on that day. Never talked to the guy. So I think you guys can expect a similar experience if you guys deal with Max over at Carbon Visionary as well. So let's get into this. All right, so this is real quick and easy. Saddlebag is off. All right, so here we have our Orleans mount that we are getting rid of. And here are all the components to the Carbon Visionary mount kit. This is called their Shark Tail kit. Super straightforward. You've got your clamp. Now these clamps are able to be a different size if you are purchasing this for a different type of reservoir shock, let's say like a Legends, they offer that as well. Other than that, you just have a nice tapered fit on both sides that's going to mesh with these spacers perfectly. From there, you also have a tapered machine screw, and that is going to help self-center these mounts. We just have our stainless Allen with a nylock to clamp down on the reservoir. Super straightforward, but it's high quality stuff, and I like sharing the details with you guys. All right, so all we need to do now is slip the clamp on, throw the hardware in, and then slide our reservoir in. Now there are two different ways that you can run this hose. Well, there actually are a few. I've seen people 180 and then mount like that. That way you have your hose kind of running down at an angle like so. I have seen people go this way so that the screw is up, but then your hose is a little bit tall. But if you like that kind of aggressive look, good on you. I may end up going that route, or you can see on the other side what I've done is 180 it down this way and then back up, and you end up with something like that. Super easy to get this bent down as well. Just run it like this and zip tie it right over to this mount where our taillight wire runs. All right, and there you have it. Saddlebag's gonna cover all of that up, and you've got a nice, clean, streamlined look. And some of you may wonder how the saddlebag clears. Plenty of room there. Plenty of room. Next thing, let's make sure the sissy bar can fit with these reservoir mounts. Plenty of clearance here. Nothing touching where it shouldn't be. See there, you got tons of room between any hose and any rub points. Keep in mind that Oleans sent me this reservoir with this sticker way crooked. It's lined up here, it's just the sticker itself is crooked. So what are you gonna do? So one more order of business that I consider extremely necessary, especially before going on a long trip like this, is if you have not already done so, set up your pin. So every bike has a pin. So in your Harley settings, you can go over to the settings icon, down to system, down to system info, and you can go to change security pin. From here, all you're gonna do is enter a 5-digit pin that you want. That way, if for some reason you lose your key fob, you can just enter your pin and you can still ride your bike without a key fob rather than having to spend half a day worrying about trying to get into a dealer locally to you. I mean, you gotta get the bike towed or have the, I don't know, just set your pin. So if you haven't already done so, do that, and it's gonna make life a lot easier one day if you run into the misfortune of losing your fob. All right, you guys, that about wraps this video up. My bike is ready for this 3-week, few thousand mile trip down to Southern California for Thrashing's event and then over to Arizona Bike Week. I cannot wait to get rolling on it, but I have one more video to share with you guys after this one before we switch gears to on the road content. Saddleman was nice enough to send me some luggage to try out and share with you guys. So I'm gonna be showing you guys how Dan and I pack up all of our gear, strap it on the bike, what we put in the bike in terms of extra gear, what tools, what emergency supplies, so on and so forth. So don't forget to subscribe if you have not already. Comment with any questions or concerns that you have down below. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. Catch you guys in my next off week.